Good morning, councillors, officials, members of the public that are joining us online, and councillors that are joining us virtually. Welcome to this council meeting this morning on Wednesday, the 24th of August, 2022. Councillors, there are a few things that I will just raise now in my opening statement. If you've got a problem, you can just indicate or send Rihanna a message. Those of you who are online and who are struggling maybe with connection, because I know that in Knysna we've got in certain areas, we've got Eskom power failure from 8 o'clock this morning until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So maybe if you've got a problem, just let us know. Then councillors, if you look at your agenda, you will see there is a new point number 2 that has been added, and that is the evacuation procedure. Going forward, that will be a standing item on our agenda. Then we're going to have introductions of newly appointed staff after point number 6. And we've also going to have the award of long services, people that have been with the Garden Route for 30 years and more. Councillors, I will ask point number 2, we will deal with after our opening prayer. Then I will ask our occupational and health officer if he is here. But can I please ask that we don't have a repeat of what happened yesterday? I don't know if it was a malfunction of the emergency. You may proceed,
Thank you, Speaker. I would request, with your permission, because the majority of councillors are not in the chambers, for them to follow the procedure, that we skip it for today. And when council is fully physically here, then we can show them again.
Thank you.
Because many of them are not here.
Thank you for that, So, councillors, just for your information, going forward, when we are full house again, we will do the evacuation procedure. I will now ask Pastor Hilton Strubel. Pastor, before you open for us with a prayer, Maya, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you raised the new initiative that you and the team initiated with the new item. I would like to hop onto that, Madam Speaker, through you to propose to council another standing item, the matter of SALGA reports. If that can also then, through you, now that you're busy with changing the setup of how we're going to conduct meetings, if council then allow us to have SALGA as a standing item as well, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Maya, going forward, we will definitely do that. I will ask Pastor Hilton Strubel to please open our meeting for us with a prayer.
Kom ons sluit ons oë. Vader in die hemel, ons is vir U so dankbaar. Ons is so bly vir die voorreg wat ons vanoggend het om die troon van genade te kan nader. Skrif leer ons, Here, dat wanneer ons die troon nader, dan word ons op die regte tyd gehaal. Vanoggend, Here, is ons op 'n plek waar ons weet dat ons kan vul wat ons kan haal. En ons wil wederbaar die belofte van U, o Here. En dit is die gebed van my hart dat U saam met ons sal wees en dat U ons begelei in hierdie oomblikke. Vader, ons dink ook vanoggend aan 'n geliefde wat ons aan die dood afgestaan het, George, of meneer George, so sommige hom geken het. En ons wil bid, Heilige Vader, dat U die vertrooster sal wees, Here, dan sy naaste familie en sy kollegas, aan hulle wat hom vir al die jare geken het. En ons dank U vir die gawe van lewe wat U hom gegee het. En vanoggend, Here, terwyl harte seer is en mense huil, bid ons, Here, dat elke traan wat hulle stort, dat dit 'n lofoffer aan U is. Dit is inderdaad die gawe wat U gee, die geskenk van lewe. En ons wil bid, liewe Here, dat ons vanoggend dit so Here so sal doen tot eer en tot lof van u naam. Maar die grootste van als, Here, vanoggend, dat u sal vertroos waar harte seer is. Seën ons vanoggend, Koning, terwyl ons weet dat u is met ons en dat die Heilige Gees so 'n bewusmaking in ons harte bring dat u ons nooit, maar nooit alleen sal laat nie. Seën ons verder in Jesus naam. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Baie dankie, Raadslid Strubel. I will now ask Mr. Clive Africa just to do a short tribute for us
Thank
on the
you.
late George Hendricks.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Councillor Stewart. It is indeed my honor to express a few words about our late government colleague, George Hendricks, Chief Municipal Health in the Cumberland region. As colleagues, we are deeply saddened when we heard that George has passed away on yesterday, Tuesday, 23rd of August, at the age of 62. Words cannot express how heartbreaking it is to realize that our colleague is not with us anymore. George has worked for us for 39 years as an environmental health practitioner. He started working as a health inspector in 1984 in the Klein-Toro Divisional Council at the same offices in Oudtshoorn, where he completed his last workday on June 2024 before he got sick and started medical treatment. George was a humble person and has made a positive impact on the lives of many, many people. We will forever be grateful to him for the work he did, especially in the municipal health section in the Garden District municipality. We will keep his family in our prayers during this difficult time of loss. We as colleagues will certainly miss him, and may his soul rest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Africa. I just also want to convey our heartfelt condolences to the family of Mr. Hendricks. Indeed, he made a huge impact to work for an organization for 39 years. It's a very, very long time. We will proceed now if there are no others. Rihanna, I must get used to the online again, so you must just remind me if there are hands raised. So we will proceed now with point number 4 on our agenda. That's the attendance of members. Rihanna.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, Alderman Boyson, Deputy Executive Mayor, Whip of Council, and all the officials and councillors present. Speaker, I can confirm that for your council meeting dated the 24th of August, 2022 at 11 o'clock, you have the following councillors present, both in the chambers as well as on Zoom. Present via Zoom, Councillor Swart, Councillor Wigbaard, Councillor Malloy,
Present.
Councillor Lichaba,
Present.
Alderman De Vries, Councillor Cornelius,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Akker,
I'm present, Rihanna.
Oud-Lady Ndai,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Cronje,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Toto,
Present, ma'am.
Alderman Van Niekerk,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Van Noordwijk,
Present, thank you.
Councillor Taute,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Steenkamp,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Kammermeyer,
Present, Rihanna.
Councillor Babona,
Present, ma'am.
Oud-Lady Reuters,
Present, Rihanna.
Councillor Van Rooyen,
Rihanna.
Speaker, there are 2 devices connected to this meeting that hasn't identified themselves yet. Those are on the Zoom platform. But would you like me to continue first with those that is present in the chambers now? Okay. In the
Sorry, Rihanna, Speaker, sorry, can I confirm my presence? Virgil Gericke, good morning.
Alderman Gericke, so you are Galaxy 22.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Rihanna. It's Councillor Seti, that is C21.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sethi. Speaker, present in the chambers, it is yourself, Councillor Meyron, Alderman Boyson, Alderman Ter Blanche, Our Lady Kritzinger,
Rihanna is Councillor Kungubele. I'm also present in Zoom.
thank you, Our Lady.
You hear me?
Yes, Councillor Gungubele, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Rihanna.
Thank you, Speaker. In the chamber, Speaker, Councillor Strubel, Alderman Lambergy. Those are the councillors present in the chambers. Would you like me to go to the officials, Chairperson? Speaker, we have in the chambers Mr. Strato, Ms. Holzhausen, Mr. Africa, Mr. Jan Willem de Jager, Mr. Daniels, Ms. Nadima Davids, Seneca Makakeni, Mr. Loliwe, Ms. Ilse Simon, Ms. Lauren James, Mr. Bonisile Desha, myself, Mr. Gerard Otto, Ms. Lauren James, Mr. Johan Kompion, and then Mr. Sipiwe Dladla, and then speaker via Zoom, we have Mr. Richard Yankee, Ms. Sims, Ms. Louise Hook, Mr. Tabalo Mpuru, Mr. Koos Nieuwoud, and Ms. Mercy James. Those are the officials present via Zoom.
Thank you very much. Don't sit, you can proceed with councillors with leave
Sorry,
and
Speaker.
councillors without leave. My apologies.
Sorry, Speaker, ek het my naam gehoorie.
Welcome, Councillor Buys. Apologies for that one.
Speaker, we for committee services has only received 2 apologies. We have received an apology from Councillor Hector and Councillor Mponto, and Mr. Menzi is also present in the council chambers.
Thank you very much. Then Alderman Gericke also informed me that he will be late, but he is already on our platform. So any other councillors, I see there's a hand of Councillor Lechaba. So if any other councillors join, then you can just note it. Alder Lady Lechaba.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Speaker. No, I just wanted to allude from Councillor Mkonto that there are matters in Mosabet, so his apology, and also Councillor De Vries, Alderman De Vries. I think he has also confirmed in the chat room. Thank you.
Councillor De Vries is present, but when Rihanna called his name, he did not respond. Councillor De Vries.
Speaker, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Alder.
I did indicate in the chat room and perhaps throughout the meeting, my internet is unstable.
Yes.
And I might also just at this stage that I might have to switch devices. So I will be in the waiting room, perhaps over an hour or 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries.
Councillor Swart.
You may
Rihanna,
proceed.
just want to acknowledge that I'm present. I had to just reset settings on my microphone. It didn't want to work.
Thank you. Then councillors, I've received a resignation letter from Councillor Skeepers. So that's why Councillor Skeepers is not present. And then I've received a doctor's certificate from Councillor Hector that he is also not going to be able to make it.
Confirm the attendance of Councillor Wigbaar. He is in the Riversdale conference room at our Riversdale offices.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you. So if that formalities are done, Maya.
Madam Speaker, I have not heard the name of Councillor Bavuma.
He did, Maya.
Okay,
And he responded also.
oh, my apologies. I'm awake now.
Thank you, Maya. We will proceed to point number 5. Can Kunrad, can you please, Councillor Swart, remove your hand? We will proceed to point number 5, noting of the provisions of Schedule 7, Code of Conduct for Councillors. Point number 6, disclosure of interest by councillors and officials. Anything that you want to disclose, councillors or officials? Nothing. And then we will proceed to the introduction of newly appointed staff. All of our staff members are sitting there at the back. So if I mention your name, then you can just stand. We have got in our ICT department, we've got the newly appointed councillors. This is coming from a request at the previous council meeting that going forward, councillors requested that we must please introduce our newly appointed staff members. Our new ICT technician under corporate is Alzaida Manu. If she can just stand. That is the lady that's going around if you've got IT problems. Thank you, Alzaida. Then in our roads department, we've got 3 Heidelberg general attendants, and that is F. Hoogbaar, Riddles, and Philander. You can see it's all females. And then we've got the general attendant, Ree Gravel from Riversdale, P. McEwen, and Superintendent Resil George, P.N. Tabete. Can we give them a hand? That is our... And then for long services, we've got Maya. Okay, thank you, Maya. Then for long services, we've got, I will start with the longest, the person that is currently 30 years in the service of Garden Route, and that is a female, Miss Rosaline Allard. Is she on her way? Okay. Oh, there she is. Allard. Sy het by Garden Road District Municipaliteit begin werk op die 1 Julie 1992. Toe was dit nog die streeksdienste raad as 'n senior werker skoonmaker. Op 17 Augustus 1998 is sy aangestel by die heffingsafdeling en in krediteure afdeling as 'n assistent rekenmeester. En op 1 Julie 2016 is sy aangestel as die assistent rekenmeester. Baie geluk, me Rosaline Allard. As you can see, we've got long services, 30 years. Then the next person is a senior firefighter, Mr. Dion Madikane. Mr. Dion worked himself through the ranks from learner firefighter to senior firefighter and has also had the responsibility to act as station commander, deputy fire chief and fire chief after 2010. He's currently busy with his studies through the Institute of Fire Engineers, as well as busy with studies in public administration. He's been working in George for the length of his career so far, and he's been from Oudtshoorn originally. So he's in the service of the municipality for 21 years permanent. So in fact, he started in 2000, but he was permanently appointed in 2001. Then we've got another 30 years, that is Mr. Adam Damons. Mr. Adams is a senior operator foreman at the Re-Gravel team. He's a diligent worker, and he's always very happy, and he's very proud of his work, and his team he's a team player. He's the leader of his team, and he is so respect amongst his colleagues. And I think this is just a tongue in the cheek comment. He wants to work for another 30 years. And then we've got Mr. Peter Quinton Adams, been working at the municipality for 15 years. Mr. Adams is also a very proud employee of Garden Route, and I think he can still go for another 15 years. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Did I miss anybody? No one. Kiperu. No. So thank you very much. Congratulations to the newly appointed staff members, as well as to those who have received long services awards. I don't know if you've got a day off, but you may now return to your respective workplaces. Thank you very much. So we will now proceed to point number 7. I don't see any hands. So point number 7, that's the communications by the speaker. I will be very short today. We've got a birthday girl in the house. Today is the birthday of Councillor Let Steenkamp. Congratulations on your birthday, Councillor Steenkamp. And we will await the cake when you come to join us for the next physical council meeting. Then the birthdays for the rest of the month is going to be Councillor Canary on the 1st of September, Councillor Van Rooyen on the 11th, Councillor Meyring on the 16th, and then Councillor Chengwa on the 30th. Councillors, and then also just to inform council, we had a governance meeting yesterday, and the whips will inform all the party members of the outcome of what was discussed in our meeting. Then there's just one other thing that I want to raise. If you look at your numbering on your agenda, there's just a slight, I think it's the gremlins that was working overtime. Say for instance, when it says on your index, it's the page would start at page 65. It's in fact page 66. So it's just one page. You must just add one page. I'm just checking my notes if I've left out anything. No, that is all from my side. Thank you. Rihanna, can you just check for any hands? I don't see any, so. Thank you. We will proceed to point number 8, communications by the Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and greetings to those who are online, those who are with us. Madam Speaker, I'm also going to be very short, but I must say up front, Madam Speaker, I'm a very worried mayor in the sense that the district is on fire, and so is the country. And every time one looks on TV or when one reads news, everything is just abnormal. We know that we had riots yesterday in Mossel Bay. We also know that it is currently very tense. We don't know what is happening as we speak, because today has also been earmarked for a day that might have potential flare-ups. And I want to say thank you to our teams who are doing the best they can, the men and women in uniform, those who are manning the joint operation centers, our disaster teams. Thank you very much. We can only imagine what you folks are going through. We read about it, we see about it. You're the guys who respond to those incidences. And our prayers and our support is definitely with them. Madam Speaker, also, these things tend to affect other towns as well. And as I'm sitting here, I have seen correspondence as of yesterday, correspondence in the Beto area that definitely has the potential to create or to trigger unintended consequences. There are newsletters going around in Beto where all our foreign brothers and sisters are being put on notice that by the 31st of this month, they must leave the township. They must be gone out of the township. And also, Madam Speaker, on my way to work yesterday, I happened to see an SAPS van at one of the tuck shops managed by one of the foreigners, and I then stopped, and the police confirmed that he was going around actually giving them the warnings that this is coming or this might happen. What I don't know, Madam Speaker, was SAPS doing that, whether they've condoned the actions, or I don't know, Madam Speaker, but there's definitely something brewing. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm raising this that we as leaders, we cannot keep quiet when lawlessness tends to prevail. We live with these people who are from other countries within our townships. We also live with the people who are burning tires, who might not be from other countries, who are from our own constituencies. We cannot keep quiet, Madam Speaker. We as leaders, we need to stand up, and we can't condone what is happening. Now, Madam Speaker and colleagues and everybody, we know at times what makes people angry. But I am saying, Madam Speaker, regardless of the merits of what make people angry, there are agents who are employed by the state to deal with any matter, whether it's an accusation, whether it's a fact, whether they are criminal intent. There are agents who must deal with these kind of matters. We cannot condone communities taking the law into their own hands. So I want to say thank you to those who are trying their best. And I'm actually even asking everybody in these circumstances, all of us must become leaders, and we must make sure that we do not let our country burn, or we should not allow a wrong view of South Africa to be projected to the rest of the world. Now, Madam Speaker, to come to some good news is that we know that next month it is the beginning is its tourism month, and we keep on saying that we know that to turn the economy around, tourism must be part of whatever we're doing. And I want to say thank you to the people who are always working very hard behind the scenes. I want to say thank you to Melanie, to Denver, to Emma Jean, and for you, Madam Speaker, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor van Noordwijk. We had the opportunity on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, to welcome 15 professionals within the space of promoting tourism, promoting towns, and just turning economies around and making the world aware on what areas have to offer. And in this instance, they're going to make the world aware on what the Garden Route has to offer to the rest of the world. There are 15 professionals. Some of them are within the tour operating space. Others are within the media space, social media, as well as print media. I've learned another term as well. The majority of them are influencers. Is that the word? Or influences. Okay. So we had the opportunity to rub shoulders with them. They are here in the district. They're going from town to town. They have an itinerary. They are here as of the 22nd until the 26th of this month. I've also made a commitment that we need to measure these things, Madam Speaker. We need to measure in terms of what are the outcomes of everything that we set our sights on to achieve. So I would probably, if the smoke have subsided, I would probably try and track them again to find out in which part of the Garden Route they would be by tomorrow. But the prayers are, Madam Speaker, hopefully as we're sitting here, there's not a lot of damage happening outside. We know people have rights, but we also need to give advice when it comes to destruction and destroying our economy. And lastly, Madam Speaker, I just want to say thank you also to Councillor Lambert-Jean. Councillor Lambert-Jean, as everybody would be aware of the vacancy in my mayoral committee, Councillor Lambert-Jean is playing a dual role. You're having two caps. You are also filling in the space of the Section 80 Committee of Finance. Thank you, Councillor Lambert-Jean. And CFO, please do not give him a double salary for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Councillors, want to ask the Mayor any questions on his communication? I don't see any hands. Okay, Alderman De Vries and then Alderman Gericke.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you may proceed, Alderman.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't have a question, but I just have a few comments on the Mayor's report. My apologies for not switching on my camera, it's just because of my network. I want to add my voice and that of the ANC in terms of our appreciation for the work that is done by our first responders, and especially the work by in our community service department, our disaster management section. I also believe that in a world that is at this stage confronted with the effects of climate change, it is a department that we should invest more. But our appreciation to the work that they are doing. I believe also that all institutions of government and individual leaders, we must speak out against xenophobia. The case, as he is referring to, is widely circulated on social media. And it's important that we be seen as leaders, whatever view a person might hold, that we speak against this unlawful and violence against fellow African brothers, and also where communities engage in violence amongst themselves. And also the extent our appreciation to the LED department in terms of the excellent work that they are doing when it comes to tourism and promoting the garden route. As we enter Tourism Month next year, I would like, Mayor, that we become serious when it comes to the issue about empowerment. I think that we every year when we celebrate Tourism Month, the one thing that always troubles us from the side of the ANC is that our tourism sector has not transformed. There's little bits, drops that in terms of transformation that took place, but if we talk about our establishment, accommodation and other businesses, it's still basically controlled as it was before apartheid. And we can't not talk about it when it comes to tourism. And our programs should then also speak to that. And of course, hopefully we will also empower our LED department in terms of the work that they are doing from their side. But we should have a conversation as an institution with the private sector. The last point, Executive Mayor, as we end the Women's Month, I would like to just make the following statement, that every year we mark the Women's Day and we pay tribute to the 20,000 women that marched on the Union buildings in 1956, protesting against the extension of the pass laws to women. And so it was a system that was meant to control women even further and reduce women to passive beings at the mercy of men. This year, Women's Month are celebrated under the theme Women's Socio-Economic Rights and Empowerment, Building Back Better for Women, Improve Resilience. This concept of generational equality is a global campaign and links South Africa to global efforts to achieve gender equality by 2030. Women's Month is not just a tribute to the thousands of women who marched on the day in 1956, but to all women in South Africa. Women makes enormous contribution to economies, whether in business or in farmers, entrepreneurs, and employees, or by doing unpaid care work at home. Investing in women economic empowerment set the direct path toward gender equality, poverty eradication, and inclusive economic growth. Our appeal today is that as we implement our women's programs and other gender programs, that we take the opportunity again that is on offer by the Garden Route with our latest advert for SMME support and development, which closed on the 30th of August, that we are deliberate in terms of being biased towards women when we consider our applications. That will indicate that we not every year spend money on functions and events, but actually that we can show that we're serious in terms of the empowerment of women. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alderman De Vries, Alderman Gericke, and then Alderlady Lechaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, Executive Mayor and colleagues. First and foremost, our heartfelt condolences to the passing of Mr. George Hendricks. Condolences to the directorate and the colleagues in those departments on the departure of that committed employer working for 39 years for this municipality. Madam Speaker, also on that point, we want to congratulate also that department, Community Services and the Disaster Management Department, for the extraordinary work that they do in this region. To, you know, there's a lot of work that's been done by that department and the disaster management and the fire services. A lot of commitment, a lot of effort. We have, for instance, clean air in this Garden Route with very little pollution and for, you know, advanced planning from disaster management and also from community services. And I think these individuals and departments must be commended for the extreme work, you know, quality work that they are doing, and also the reports that they bring, particularly to the Occupational Health and Safety Committee, you know, quality reports, informed reports, alerting and keeping the council and the committee up to date as to what is happening in our region. I personally am extremely proud of the individuals heading those departments, Mr. Africa and Mr. Gerard Otto and their assistants under the supervision of the municipal manager of the Garden Route District Municipality. Madam Speaker, the submission by the mayor is somewhat very disturbing this morning, of these attempts of xenophobia in our region and the targeting of foreigners. It is just so upsetting as I sit here this morning and speak to you. Because when the mayor uttered those words, it brought me to this thing, and I want us to take seriously note of this. You know, there's a lot of people standing up now, raising their hands and trying to say that we are politicians and we are the party of choice, and we and those type of songs that they sing in the media, on social media and so on. But sometimes these guys standing up act with, you know, with a lack of knowledge of our political situation in our country, and they also don't have the history of where we're coming from and where we should be going. And many of these guys standing up, and some of our current political leaders, and I want to make a big point about this, are targeting color, politicizing the coexistence of foreigners in our region and our country. And some of them are opting to say, we stand for colors and we stand for this race and we stand for this race, effectively demonizing other people around that also have the right to participate in the economy and also in the politics of our country. And this is a disturbing point. It's a disturbing point when Black Africans are being targeted, and the same leaders that make those statements and that pursue that agenda are silent when it comes to European foreigners and Asian foreigners and other foreigners, but they are targeting Black Africans. I mean, this is a political platform and we should be addressing the things for what it is. And these agendas are driving our country further into a mess. These leaders, these narrow-minded leaders driving these agendas are forcing our country in a mess. And they are actually forcing us into some kind of, I won't say civil war, but there's a low-density war at the moment driving these things, and it may be dangerous and lethal for all of us. And therefore, I'm going to support the mayor. When he asks us to stand up as leaders, I'm standing up this morning. I say not in our name, not in the name of the PBI. We are not targeting foreigners. They have the right to coexist. They are creation of God Almighty, and we should respect all foreigners as human beings. I make a strong point about that, Speaker. And then, Mr. Mayor, as you've said, our region is on fire for various reasons. I am now going to call on the leadership of municipalities, of government institutions. When our region is on fire, we must start to listen to the people. We must start to engage people. We must not stop talking to people. We must not single people out as troublemakers. We must listen to them. Whether we disagree with them or agree with them politically, we must invite them to our offices, or we must go to them and address them and speak to them and listen to what they want to say. We cannot, at this juncture in our democracy, afford a repeat of riots and protests. Yes, they have rights, but the psychological mood of our country and of our region is not right at the moment for this which is happening. We are just now coming out of a COVID situation. We had other social ills and matters in we cannot afford it. A strong call on the leadership, whichever position you are, we must engage with people. We must engage with the opposition on that point. Also on that point, I have noted in media reports that you've engaged, as the Garden Route recently, the new cluster commander of police in the council chambers and so on. And when I saw the picture, I was really disturbed, upset, because I only saw DA representatives and representatives of the Freedom Front and those that are in the governing party.
Point of order, the point of order.
Can you also please conclude?
Yes, the mayor has a point of order.
Yes, Mayor.
Madam Speaker, my point of order is that we should not refer to political parties here. It's the executive that has met with SEPs. So it tells a story who is on the executive.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor,
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Mayor, point is noted. The fact of the matter is
Alderman
that
can you
we
please
should.
conclude?
I am busy concluding, Madam Speaker. We should take into consideration policing is affecting us all. And when we engage the highest ranking of police, then we must engage all leadership on that point. So thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't even know if my time is up, but you're forcing me to finish now.
Your time is up.
Yeah, but you must ring the bell when the time is up. Okay, thank you.
The latter part is noted. Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Alder Lady Lechaba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I just wanted to voice and raise my disappointment on behalf of women and the women in the Southern Cape about that, the mayor not having said nothing about women issues in the critical month that we are in the gender-based violence being the crisis in our region and in this country, and not also having given us a roadmap and how can we as the council and also equally the residents and the citizens of the Southern Cape, how can we collaborate and deal with this scourge? There is an increase of rape cases every day, the victimization of women in all levels, the emotional and abusive spaces that women they find themselves, and also the empowerment of women. So I was expecting the mayor, since this is the first council meeting we had in this Women's Month, to give us a roadmap of how can we intervene on these matters, the empowerment of women in our region, and how we can influence society, particularly those who find themselves in this crisis. Therefore, I'm very disappointed. And I call upon the mayor that even though this is not, it's just a month of women, but this is a crisis, that it should be a standing item that the mayor is propagating and advocating on behalf as the leader of this council. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I also call upon that our policies must be able to include how women are being victimized in the workplace. We have seen, we have heard from women in the environment of a workplace that how victimization is thrived at this moment in time in our history. That as in though we empower women, but the victimization becomes now the order of the day, which is, it's unacceptable in the time we are in. Therefore, we call upon the council and the mayor to lead on these debates, because we are the leaders in society. We cannot take away this scourge unless we lead from the front. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady Lechaba. I don't see any other hands. Maya?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I agree with the comments made. Some of the comments I need to take to heart. And I don't want this to become a political exchange, Madam Speaker. So it is something that I would recommend to the Governance Committee, that we should have confines when people are responding to my inputs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya. Amen. We are on point number now on our agenda. That's the communications of our municipal manager.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to yourself, the Executive Mayor, the Deputy Executive Mayor, Whip of Council, members of the Mayoral Committee, whips and councillors, colleagues, good morning. Speaker, I have a few items that I would like to communicate with Council. I think firstly, I must, on my behalf and behalf of the administration, also extend our sincere condolences to the family of the late George Hendricks, our former colleague. As is practice, Speaker, we expect that a memorial service with the permission of the family will be organized, and the details will then be communicated as is normal in our organization. May his soul rest in peace. Speaker, one, the long outstanding Municipal Systems Act amendment has finally been concluded. The President assented to the bill on the 16th of August. Now we have an amended Municipal Systems Act, and I believe it's quite important that all of us concerned must familiarize ourselves with the contents of that but mainly it's about the attempts to professionalize local government, to prescribe minimum competencies for senior officials, and to regulate issues of recruitment and selection, and all matters connected therewith. So those, if you recall, councillors, that legislation has been the subject of litigation at the highest court for many years, and that matter has now been resolved. However, if you recall the case, how it began, the Union Sambu that challenged the legislation, they raised two matters. One was procedural, which was to the effect that the bill was not properly tagged, in that it was not presented in the National Council of Provinces, and for that reason alone, it was declared invalid and unenforceable. However, the Constitutional Court never dealt with the substantive matters that were raised by Sambu, and I think especially as it relates to the participation of municipal officials in political parties as elected representatives of those parties. I have heard that the union is planning to then challenge the bill based on the substantive matters. The whole other issue has been about the procedural issue, but now it's about the substantive matter. You will see in the bill or in the Amendment Act that all municipal officials, there is no differentiation now. All municipal officials may not occupy executive positions in their political parties, such as chairpersons, deputy chairpersons, secretaries, and so on. So that is one issue that I think we need to look at. We will be monitoring the space. Connected to that is that COGTA then will be expected to issue regulations in terms of that Amendment Act, so that we as municipalities can start implementation as and when called upon to do so. And to that end, they've issued a draft notice for the upper limits for the remuneration of senior managers, which is a long-outstanding matter that is afflicting the country, and especially the Western Cape. And to that end, last week, we had what is known as the Min-May Tech meeting, where all municipal managers, the head of department for local government, and on this occasion, we were graced by the national DG and his officials to discuss matters, and a committee has been put together to prepare submissions on the draft notice and to discuss all matters related to those notices. SALGA has also issued their correspondence to all councillors and to all officials, stating its position on the whole matter of the upper limits for senior managers, and they are calling for comments and submissions. And if anyone has not received that, I'm going to request Trix, your section, to please share that information with all councillors and officials that may be affected, so that people can appreciate the complications related to that and what SALGA, as the representative of the employer component, is suggesting relating to the upper limits. That is that about the Municipal Systems Amendment Act, Speaker. Thirdly, Speaker, the process for the annual audit has begun. I'm sure, councillors, you have noted in your agenda, we have submitted the draft unaudited annual performance report, which is the APR. Is serving today and will be subjected to the necessary audit. And we have also in the agenda submitted the draft annual report. As you know, in terms of Circular 63, we should by sometime in December adopt, or this council must adopt, an annual report, which report would include the financial statements, but what is in front of you is a component of the annual report that excludes the draft financial statements. The process to develop the financial statements and submit at the end of August is underway. And on Monday, the MPEC and APEC will be meeting jointly to consider or to review the draft AFS as is their responsibility, and that those will then be submitted to the Auditor General as is prescribed by legislation by 31st August 2022. The mayor has spoken about the issue of ensuring that SALGA reports, or there is an item standing on the agenda relating to SALGA. We are aware that last week, a number of us, officials and councillors, were in Cape Town for the whole week, attending various SALGA committee meetings. There is an expectation then that all those officials and councillors would prepare reports that must be submitted to council for the meetings they have attended and what they mean for Garden Route District Municipality. It is expected, therefore, that in the meetings that will come, all people attending any meetings, including SALGA and other forums, must report whatever is relevant to the municipality. Speaker, there is an announcement next week, the 30th of August, is the Premier Coordinating Forum. It was meant to take place in George. It has been moved to Mossel Bay. So the Premier and his cabinet and all the officials, the DG and his officials will be congregating in Mossel Bay Town Hall for the Premier Coordinating Forum. It's on the 30th. And probably it's proper that at this moment we congratulate Mossel Bay for opening of their state-of-the-art JOC, Joint Operations Center, which was also attended by the Premier. We hope it is adopted by all local municipalities in the fight against crime, and that the resources that are available can be used. We have such facilities in all the 7 municipalities in the region. So we congratulate Mossel Bay on the milestone that they've reached. I am aware that Bito for years has had their own JOC, and I think it's a matter of making sure that they catch up with technological developments and ensure that their JOC is working as it should. Finally, Speaker, on the issue that this council has determined as priority is the regional waste facility. Just to update council at the moment, councillors will recall I previously reported that we were finalizing the supply chain process to appoint a preferred financial service provider for a bank. That process has been completed, supply chain 1. We were only waiting for the period of objections. However, we have now begun the process in terms of Section 46 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, which prescribes a process for the conclusion of the contract between the municipality and the service provider. That process has got its time limits in terms of which that item must serve before council, and council must be given a prior 21 days to determine the terms of the contract. That process is underway. We had our first meeting with the preferred bidder last week, which is Standard Bank, and the process is on. However, what is delaying Speaker and Mr. Mayor is the ROD, for the record of decision for our final designs, which is one step for us that is stopping us from going out on tender for construction. We were told last week that only one signature was outstanding for our ROD to be finalized, and everybody else was positive, but to this date, we have not yet received any new update. We are following on that process. And Speaker, as we conclude our Women's Month as the administration, we are continuing to sensitize officials to take steps to empower women, to give access to opportunities that are available, to expose women to levels of management at a higher level, including taking responsibility for some strategic meetings and projects, so that people can be empowered to take positions. We are very glad, Speaker, that if you look at our record, even if you look at our own grievances that have been lodged, this municipality is one of the municipalities that respects women. All women that are in this building and elsewhere do feel respected. And when there is anything that is untoward, actions are taken. We have proven in the past that we do not tolerate sexual harassment, we do not tolerate victimization, we do not tolerate bullying, and everyone is aware what to do. We do afford people opportunities. We have seen many women rising in the ranks, and we do that every day, not only during Women's Month, and we pledge to continue. Our gender mainstreaming agenda, Speaker, as you know, is on. We are an example in the Western Cape. The Gender Commission has partnered with us. We have a program that is well known by this council, and as the administration, we will continue. And we always wish our women a happy Women's Month. And we hope when we conclude next week, we will also again bow our heads to the ladies that we work with and show them respect and the understanding that they've become used to. Thank you, Speaker. That is all from the administration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. I don't see any hands for now. There are no hands. So there's nobody who want to ask the MM any questions on his communication. If there are none, there is one hand now, Alderman De Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. I just have a question, and I know it might be difficult, but as the Minister has outlined processes, he was talking about the processes that the ROD, and then we will go out for advertisements or supply chain processes will take place. The question that I have is that after our supply chain processes have been finalized and the person was appointed, how soon or what is the time frames for the completion of that site? If it's possible in terms of our project management plan. And I know you can't say from now until, but from the date after our appointment, so the appointment of the service provider, how long will it take perhaps to finalize the project? Because I know that it's something that we all know that we should conclude. The second one is just a request, and the MM have already referred to it, to send some of the circulars that was from the department and from SALGA to all councillors. Can that also include the amendment act as referred to? I think it was signed, if I'm correctly, I've heard 17 or the 3rd of August. Is it possible for that also to be sent as part of that package? Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Alderlady Lechaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I just wanted to allude to say, yes, we do acknowledge that there are matters concerning women in the organization, particular gender mainstreaming. Yes, we are on the right direction. Yes, from a policy perspective, we are undergoing the process of making sure that the policies are in place. But at the same time, we cannot say with surety that we have arrived. The municipal manager is alluding that, yes, women are being empowered, and also equally, yes, where there are victimization, women must come and they must come to, they've got a space to speak. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, because had women had spaces, we should have already had women committees formed, are able to express themselves, because these are matters that are very difficult. They are very difficult for women when they are being victimized, when they are being bullied, just to come and just say it. So all I'm saying that let us make more effort so that all what we are doing, we are also doing in the perspective of the woman, and these women who are the ones who are feeling the brunt when they are being victimized, when they are being bullied in the workplace, and also equally our programs that they need to go out in the community. Speaker, is just, I urge the leadership. I'm urging the leadership as we are also ending the Women's Month, but I know that there will be a workshop that we will engage thoroughly and in detail, but let us take the woman plight very serious. It is a crisis. It is a crisis out there, and therefore it needs our leadership as the council and as administration. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady. Imim, are there any responses from your side?
Thank you, Speaker. I think Councillor De Vries has asked for information. We will be sharing. I've spoken to Trix. We'll share the amended Systems Act to all Garden Route councillors and officials. The SALGA submission on the draft upper limits notice, just to read what SALGA says about this whole thing about upper limits and any other information that is necessary. Regarding the process to raise capital and appoint a provider, as I've been updating council regularly, the supply chain process part, you can say it's 99% complete, because after you have appointed your preferred bidder, you then give whoever 14 days to submit their objections, those that were not successful. And in our case, we only had 2 institutions, which was Standard Bank and DBSA. So the only persons that can really say no would be DBSA. And as far as I'm aware, they have not raised anything. It could be then that the whole supply chain part of it is now concluded. Now, what kicks in then, Councillor De Vries, is in terms of Section 46, which is the contracting part. Now we have to have a contract between Garden Route District Municipality and the bidder, which is Standard Bank. So there are certain principles and requirements that any lender would have that we must deal with. For instance, we have to obtain council resolutions from the B municipalities that are participating in support of the loan tender by Garden Route. Now, they know what is the time period for the money. They know what is the interest rate. They know what are the repayment terms and everything. So they must go to their councils and obtain council resolutions in support of Garden Route entering into agreement. That is Pito, Knysna, George, and Mossel Bay. Those municipalities are being engaged. After that, we then have to enter into what is probably at the same time, because we don't have another time, is the SLAs or service level agreements or contracts between us and those 4 municipalities. That details our relationship in terms of this whole process and the repayment of the loan. Once we have those covenants or documents, in that Section 46 period, we then have to prepare an item and give council 21 days to look at that. And on the meeting of council, the executive mayor must then table that report where he has approved by himself the agreement and recommend to council to approve. Once council has approved, then the accounting officer can sign the contract with the Standard Bank, and then the issues of drawdowns will then be debated or discussed between our finance department and the bank. That is all about managing cash flows and interest and all those things. Parallel to that is the tender for the construction of the facility. As we stand, the specification for that facility was approved long ago by the necessary committee. We are ready to go out for tender. However, we need the departments concerned, DFFE and Water Affairs, to approve our final designs so that we can then conclude our specification process. So that is why I was saying we are just waiting for a record of decision or an ROD from them. Now, that ROD, we were informed, is lacking only one signature by last week, end of the week, and everybody else is positive. So I suppose we will wait for that. That then has an impact, Councillor De Vries, on the program to deliver on the first cell that will be used when we can no longer use Mossel Bay Petro SA next year, March. Now, we are working to manage that. There are other things that I've reported before, but maybe, Speaker, it is also important to speak about just to, in conclusion, inform Council that on the 29th, we have that event that will be graced by the Minister of Human Settlements. I'm told the office has confirmed, where we will be introducing our social housing partner, which we have informed you about the appointment on Haven, and then looking at the possible site where we can do the programs in terms of social housing that we've been talking about. It's taking place on Monday, the 29th. So at 8, it will be MENCOM. At 9, it will be the combined MPEC, APEC committee to look at the financial statements. At 11, it will be this event where ONHAVEN will be introduced to the council. We have invited all the municipalities. We're expecting about 90 people. We are finalizing the details. The council chamber is small. It cannot accommodate 90 people in a well-ventilated environment. And therefore, we have to look at alternative venues. They have spoken about the possible fire station, but those details, Speaker, are being finalized. Thank you.
Thank you, MM. On the latter part, I would also just like to ask councillors to please RSVP. Go and have a look at your inbox. There is an invite, and just decline or accept, please. And the final details of where the venue is going to be, as the MMF said, will be communicated during the week. Maya?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mine is just a point of clarity. Elder Lady Lichaba kept referring to what the leadership must do. My question is, Madam Speaker, who is the leadership?
Elder Lady Lichaba? Is Elder Lady Lichaba still on the platform?
Yes, I'm on the platform. Thank you, Speaker. The leadership is the Honorable Mayor. You are the leader of this council and your executive. That is why you are an executive. We have an executive council combined with ourselves. What I'm saying, in this council, you are the leader. We lead, you lead from the front. We are there to support and follow you, but lead from the front as the executive mayor of the Garden Route District Municipality with the administration.
Thank you for the clarity, Elder Lady Lichaba. Councillors, we will now proceed with our agenda. Point number 10, that is the approval of minutes of a council meeting that was held on the 27th of July, 2022. You will find that on pages 8 until from page 9 until page 44. Page 9 until page 44. Any corrections? Any corrections on our agenda? In the absence of none, can I ask for a proposer and a seconder, please?
I so propose, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
I also can't.
Thank you, Councillor Myron. Item number 11, there's the minutes of the mayoral committee meeting and section 79 committees. That was held on the 27th of May. It's on pages 45 to page 58. That's just for noting. Councillors, if I go too fast at any stage, you can just stop me. Item number 12, that's standing items. That's appointment, service, exit and labor relations information for July 2022. That's also for noting. Councillors, any questions? No hands, no questions. Mayor, you just switch off.
Now, I was going to suggest that we go with the recommendations or propose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will second that.
Thank you, Mayor and Alder Lady Kratzinger. Section A, reports from the speaker, there is none. Section B, reports from the executive mayor. It's the unaudited annual report for 2021-2022, and we will find the recommendations on page 66. Can we go to the recommendations, please? There's recommendation 1, 5.1 to 5.4. There is our recommendations. Mayor?
Madam Speaker, once again, these are matters that we deal with on an annual basis, and that recommendation speaks to that. So councillors would then have another opportunity after this item has run its course. Thank you. So propose.
Mayor, thank you. Are there no councillors who want to ask anything? If there are none, councillors that are online, I will wait a bit. I've noted the conference in Riversdale, that's Councillor Jobiet, and then Elder Lady Lechaba, in that order.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me?
Proceed, Councillor.
Yeah, Speaker. Just some corrections that need to be made there in that report, Madam Speaker. B1 on page 394. That Auditor General audit findings. I didn't see my name there by the 13th of October 2021, and I had attended that meeting, that council meeting. And then the other one is on page 397. Attendance of the meeting.
Councillor, first wait, let me first go to 394. Was the first issue on page 394?
Yes, Speaker.
Just a second. Can you, Rihanna, can you just move the screen upwards? So that we also can just follow Councillor. Councillor, so what is the issue there?
Speaker, on the 13th of October 2021,
yes,
I attended the council meeting, and I didn't see my name there in the report, or that I attend it.
But there is a councillor there, Councillor Hartnik.
Yeah, Councillor Hartnik was not. She was not part of the council at that time. She had resigned.
So thank you. So that is one correction, and then your other one, Councillor.
The other one is page 397. The MACO meetings. And I never had missed a meeting in the past, so I see here on page 397, MACO meeting on the 25th of April 2022. I say I was absent there, and I didn't miss a meeting in the past, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jobiet. Mayor, then after that it will be Elder Lady Lechaba. Adelaide, and then after Adelaide Luchaba, it's going to be Alderman Lamborghini, and then Alderman Gericke.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We note the report that and understanding that there will be starting a process that it's also going to go out for public participation for us to engage with this important document. And we equally want to say that we are going to be interacting very detailed with this report. And also we would have loved that the mayor, in terms of his forward, also to thank in terms of his programs and projects, particularly the EPWP project, the national government for giving us the funds. Why I'm saying that? Because it is very critical for us, because we also need more funds. We also need more programs of EPWP. And therefore, it is critical for us to always mention where these funds are coming from. Because these funds, they are there for all our people. And so that all our people, they must be able to know that these funds are coming from a national government. And they are there to ensure that everyone has access to those programs and projects and their opportunities. Thank you, Speaker.
Contract.
Alderman Gericke, can you just mute yourself, please? Riversdale. Alderman Gericke, Alderman, are you covered? You must press the button. It's you now, and then Alderman Gericke, and then the mayor.
Sorry, thank you for waiting, Speaker. Speaker, no, I just want to, after all the deliberations and maybe admission and stuff, I want to just second the mayor with all the amendments, this item. If everyone is
So we can proceed with the other,
Yes.
there's still one, Alderman Gericke.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, just 2-3 points of clarity. Just on page 396 and then the other one also on page 396 and on 394. I know that we had the conversation when you mark the letter A. I think we had some conversation on this. It can either constitute or represent that you were absent only, but absent with leave or without leave. We had that conversation. Now I see there's an A there, meaning it's absent on my name on 394 and also on 396. Now I have not been absent without leave. I've always written to your office and submitted some apology if I don't make it on meetings. I just want you to give me some clarity on that one, to make some corrections there. Speaker.
394, ne? 394.
And 396.
Yes. We will make that corrections, Councillor.
Thank you very much.
396, do you have the date?
I have. Yeah, it's on page 396 there by my name. It's the last column,
Yes.
the 22nd of June.
I see it, Councillor. We will make that corrections.
Yeah, that was 6 days after my birthday. Just now you say I've been so babbleless, you see, that I didn't attend the meetings. Speaker, let me just ask clarity from the municipal manager on page 85, Mr. MM. Just for clarity for myself. Okay, maybe but it falls under your overview. You're talking about poverty level there and unemployment and urbanization and declining economic growth and so on. That is to understand, but I've gone through the report. I try to find some, percentage wise, the the level of unemployment. Maybe I've missed it. If somebody can just correct me there or lead me to that page, let us see what the unemployment rate is for the region in terms of percentage-wise. And then on page 87, on the regional landfill side, now you have elaborated on that. Now I did not want to chip in there, but let me just understand. Here you make a statement that you say, and I understand what you have said. I am in agreement with you there, but you then on page 90, was it 88, you say, due to the depleted landfill airspace at the current Petro SA landfill site, the establishment of a regional waste management facility is critical. And should there be a disposal facility available? Then you mentioned some municipalities there. I don't know if I have missed this one, but if I understand correctly, even the loan that the municipality is taking out now, that loan is going to service the landfill site. We have agreed on that. It has been agreed. But that site is it nearing a depletion, or is it depleted now? And if it's depleted, do we need to go and look for another site? Is this what we say here? Mr. MM, for the speaker. And where will that new site be? Where do we shift?
Thank you, Alderman. MM.
Thank you, Speaker. I think in terms of the economic statistics, we know it may not in the summary have included it, but we draw our information from all the information we've presented in council, like the MERO, which gives the outlook, the economic outlook of the province and our district. I know that we are one of those districts with the lowest unemployment percentages. I may not have it offhand, but I do know that Garden Route and some districts in the Western Cape do record the lowest unemployment rates in the country. However, that is comparing West situations. We do need to create more efforts to create jobs. If you see, the Americans are talking about 3% unemployment rate, and I think as a country we should be aspiring for those. It is not a comfort that we are less unemployed than the rest of the people, but we are all highly unemployed as a total. So I know that we are in the regions 15, 20, or if I'm not mistaken, but we have supplied that information. The issue regarding, Speaker, to Councillor Gerige, regarding the airspace at Petro SA in Mossel Bay. We have been telling you that Petro SA has informed us that their airspace is depleted. Now, that means when our extension ends in February, Petro SA will lock their gates and will not allow Ito, Neisner, George, and Mossel Bay to use that facility, because there will be no more space for those municipalities to dump their waste. Essequa is fine. They have just done their own review of their airspace. I think they still have about 20 years. Mossel Bay, Canaland is also okay. Oudtshoorn is okay. They've got enough time. So they are not part at the moment for the regional waste facility. It's the 4 municipalities that are participating, and Garden Route. As you know, the Garden Route district doesn't generate waste as the institution. So what has been happening is that our program has been built in such a way that by the time our extension expires, at least we have our first cell ready for the 4 municipalities to use. However, that program is at risk, as I've reported, because we have to go out on tender for construction and management. and we rely on this ROD that must come from the Departments of Environmental Affairs and so on. And last week, they told us we are lacking one signature. And that for us is getting very late. On the other hand, PetroSA has said, you can also do your own assessment as the 4 municipalities and see if in our landfill site you can find any space to store temporarily, so that when you have your space done, you can then move your waste. So there is an exercise where a service provider is going to do that study and then see how it can help us. The 4 municipalities will pay for that because it is their issue. So we are taking steps to ensure that there is temporary. The worst of the worst case scenarios is to ask George Mossel Bay, maybe George Neisner and Bido to go to Otsoren. We have already obtained the council resolution from Otsoren municipality, but we are working towards the situation that we don't go there. So we are putting pressure on the provincial officials to please work on this thing, and we can only rely on them. So we are doing something. That is the situation, Speaker. I don't know if I've missed anything.
Thank you, MM. Maya,
Thank you, ma'am.
before you proceed, Alderman Gierke, is that a follow-up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Maya?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just want to add to what Elder Lady Lichaba have alluded to in terms of money coming from National for the EPWP. It is also important, Madam Speaker, that when we refer to facts, we put all facts on the table. My addition to that is we as the Garden Route, we top that up with own funding to make and create a better input.
Thank you, Maya. Alderman Gierke?
As a speaker, jy maar nou hap so 'n bietjie, né? Speaker, Mr. MM, I am satisfied with the information. This is the information that we needed as councillors so that we understand, because the reason why I was asking that question is that when the loan was requested, the loan was then, I understand that the loan was going to cover the entire landfill site and the development of that landfill site. This is why I'm asking, because if we have to shift there now, we need to adjust the loan then again. It may boil down to that. If I am not too narrow in my mind this morning, but that is more or less where it goes to. And then on the percentages of the unemployment, we're just asking that so that most probably, exactly as you said, we must try to think how to invent new ideas when it comes to this type of unemployment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. MM?
Maybe, Speaker, just to have then the exact figures on the draft annual report on page 110. That's the unemployment statistics. 15.4% in 2019, give or take. It's a bit lower than the province. And you can also go to page 250 as well as page 504, where we look at the regional statistics and so on. So in your draft annual report, we have spoken on the employment statistics, both employed and unemployed in the region, and comparing it with the province where we are in. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, MM. The recommendations that is proposed by the mayor are on page 66. That is from page 5.1 to page, my apologies, 5.1 to 5.4. And it was seconded by Alderman Lambert Jean. B2 is our rollover adjustment budget 2022-2023. Councillors, you have received the schedules yesterday from finance. I hope all of you have received it. Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, again, this is one of those items that are compliant matters whenever there are rollovers or unspent grants for whatever reasons. Some of the reasons are outside of our control. And me as the mayor, I have to table this for council to consider and to approve. And I do so with all the powers vested in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions? Alderman Gericke?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you. Alderman Lambajin?
Yes, Speaker, I will then second the mayor's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. We proceed to C1, that is the draft annual performance report 2021-2022. This report is for noting and you will find it on page 464. Questions, councillors? If there are none, the recommendation is on page 464. That council take note of the annual performance report for the 2021-2022 financial year.
Yes, Speaker, we take note of this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Lambajin and Councillor Kritzinger. Then C2 is report on the irregular and unauthorized expenditure identified in 2020 to 2021 financial year on page 600. There's also a recommendation 5.1 to 5.2. I don't see any hands, councillors. May we proceed, Maya?
Okay, now, Madam Speaker, if there are no hands, let me not create hands. I so propose.
Thank you, Maya.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I also.
You want to create a hand?
Yeah, I will second the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. We proceed. I'm just checking online. Rihanna, nothing?
No, Speaker,
Yes.
Speaker, I nogal take exception about creating hands. No? We have our own minds and our own intelligence. Thank you very much.
Alderman, I think that was just a tongue in the cheek comment by the mayor. You know, the mayor order van my appelkar om te gooi, so I think that was just a tongue in the cheek. D, section D, D1, our deviation report. It's on page 607. We've also got the recommendations on page 607, F1 to F2. If there are no hands, then I am moving. Alderman Lampis?
Yes, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this report here, we will see on the deviations that we have only 2 deviations for this month comparing to the last month. This is quite an improvement. You and your team and everyone is working with this. We can see there's a seriousness in terms of your commitment towards deviations in this municipality. Thank you very much for that, I think. And with that, Madam Speaker, I would like to propose that we accept this report of deviations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambajin. I'm just checking for hands. If there are none, then can I get a seconder also for that, please? Thank you, Alderman Lady Kritzinger. Section E from Corporate Services Department, that is the amendments of the rules of order to regulate virtual meetings. You will find the amended version on page 629. Can we go to page 629, please? It's highlighted in yellow. Maya?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we had a long debate regarding this current amendment. And out of the issues that was raised is that we live in a world that changes day by day. And it's similar to climate change. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And Madam Speaker, some of the issues that were raised is that we see the amendment, we've agreed to the amendment, and this amendment is binding, reigning or not. But then issues were raised that there are matters that will be out of our control. Case in point, you drive towards the meeting to attend an in-committee sitting, you get a tire burst, you're late for the meeting, it affects the numbers in council, what then? Or on your way to council, you get a phone call, a family or personal matter has happened, you have to detour to a hospital, your mother, your wife, your kids, etc., then what? Now, based on that, Madam Speaker, and to the councillors, I would then propose that we amend this in the sense that in the event of an eventuality that was out of a councillor's or any official's control who were supposed to be part of this in-committee sitting, that we add to say that in that case, the speaker, in consultation with the whips of all the parties, can then make a decision on such a matter. And I would then go further to say that then in the governance committee can then come up with a criteria in what incidences would the speaker and the whips decide for that particular individual to be allowed online to join that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, Elder Lady Kritzener.
Yes, Madam Speaker, also just as that, that in cases where a councillor cannot attend the in-committee meetings, that a link will only be supplied to that individual councillor and nobody else. But then also if a councillor should request such a link, that reasonable, or that it would be reasonable to request that whether this councillor is sick or whatever the case might be, that he or she gives proves the absence as far as face-to-face meetings in council chambers. So that is also important because I think we should consider that as well, that we need that proof. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Alderman De Vries and then Alderman Gericke.
Speaker, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that the ANC is supposed and was opposed to this resolution because we believe that those that are tasked with oversight, that there should be the issue around trust. We also believe that in cases, and there was a particular case I think that was made reference to, we should not change our rules and policies because of an incident, that we should rather deal with the incident, in this case dealing with the individual. In such a case, we will ensure, although not that's what you want, that people don't transgress again. So we oppose this thing because it's moving backward in terms of the trends that are setting and where the world is going. Hence, we have agreed that all our council's meetings will be hybrid sittings. Now, coming to the matter of the what is proposed, I hear what the mayor is saying. It's a bit of move in the right direction, but at this stage, we're not clear about what does it means. When will the governance committee, because he was referring as example towards issues around what you call it, towards issues around the governance committee must sit and then they will decide whether the councillor for that particular case will be done. Now, he was talking about emergency, something that happened an hour or two before the meeting. That might seem to be impractical. Perhaps if there's agreement, this thing might rather go back and then let the governance committee first look at it and then come back to council with something. To change a bylaw, it takes time, and perhaps there might be other areas that they look at, so we don't have to have the same process because it also costs money. So that is say that I would like to add towards this debate at this stage. Thank you.
Alderman De Vries. Thank you for that. Alderman Gericke and then the mayor.
Yeah, Speaker, the PBI is going to support the ANC in this matter. A reason being, our approach should not be ambiguous when we write laws and policies to this council. It is to understand what the mayor is saying about the human factor, flat tire or maybe falling sick along the wayside and so on. We always have to make room for that. But I mean, if you change this now and you say, put a rider on and say, if somebody gets a flat tire along the road or whatever, how are you eventually gonna argue this ambiguity in a court of law if somebody takes us on? In other words, you stop the one thing, but you concede to the other thing. You change the one and the other amendment that you're bringing in is directly against the spirit of what we are seeking here. So yes, we understand that it may influence the numbers and so on, but then we need to work out something else. And therefore, I'm also going to support the ANC by saying refer this back to the governance committee or whichever other committee there is. Let us just apply our minds in this. We don't have a crisis at the moment. There is no rush. There should not be a haste to change the policy. Virtual meetings will be there for long in the future, for very long in the future. I think we should wrap our minds, Mr. Mayor, around this thing to say, how do we control the element of confidentiality around our virtual meetings? I think that should be the debate. Thank you, Speaker.
Mayor, and after the mayor, the MM.
Madam Speaker, the issues being raised, the issues of trust and everything raised by the two aldermen, my amendment to this cover all of that. And let me just go into details regarding this. Firstly, this is not a bylaw. Our rules of order is not a bylaw. This is a policy. And the issue on there won't be enough time for the speaker and the whips to have a discussion. If the councillor or the official is already on his way here, there won't be time to do that. That is why I said the governance committee would set up the criteria. By then the criteria is set. So there's no meeting that needs to be called on, is it on the merits or whatever, it would be within a framework. So that would cover all of that. And we all know the issue of trust and the issue of this.
We will come to see you guys later. It's fine. Just
the issue of the spirit, Madam Speaker, we've experienced it. You get the spirit and you get the reality on what we're doing as individuals or as human beings. So this covers all our concerns, Madam Speaker, the amendment and the framework that will be set up. So the governance committee will definitely then have that opportunity to discuss all the issues raised by the ANC and the PBI.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Amen.
Speaker, I am not going to enter the debate. That's not my role. Suffice to say, we have a real situation as we sit here. Speaker, you do have a council resolution that says all meetings or all items that are deemed confidential must be done in a meeting that is physical here. So that resolution stands. However, that resolution is not provided for by the rules of order, which is why we have come here to ask you to amend your rules of order. So I think to accommodate other issues that are being raised, because I think those issues relate to the original resolution. That resolution has passed, it's been done. I think I would advise council to adopt the amended rules of order as proposed with the amendments that have just been raised by the executive, because what he has done is to sketch a scenario to accommodate exceptions to the rule. Because as we know, for every general rule, there's an exception. So if there are considerations that must be made for such eventualities, the governance committee must sit consider the scenarios and develop a criteria. And therefore, that should come back as a final approval of the amendments accommodating this issue. Because now debating the merits and demerits of this goes back to the resolution. To that mean that resolution must be rescinded? And I don't think that is what Council is saying. Just on the procedural issues, Speaker, I'm not getting into the merits or demerits of the debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, that is quite clear. Alderman De Vries, I'm still going to allow you, then we're going to proceed.
Speaker, I'm going to request something that you might think is not possible, but this virtual platforms allow that. I would like to request for a caucus by the ANCs and that the administration put us in a room. You know that you can put people in different rooms so that we are able to caucus. And you can give us 15 minutes and then we can come back into the main room.
It is possible, Speaker. We can create a link that can be sent only to those councillors that are going on caucus. They can meet virtually, and that we can do, but will depend on your direction, Speaker.
Maya?
Madam Speaker, if one looks at the time, it's lunchtime, can't we then break for lunch? And then when we come back from lunch, they would be done with their caucus.
Thank you for that proposal. Councillors, can we, Councillor De Vries, you've heard that one. We will ask the administration to quickly arrange the link for you through the email. And
Okay.
then can we be back by
No, thank you, because I think perhaps Speaker, just in future that we set up breakaway rooms, so then it will be easier. So you just transfer those that you want into that breaking room. Thank you.
Speaker, can I just ask something, please?
Proceed, Alderman.
Councillor 2-3, Alderman De Vries, through the Speaker. We have supported the ANC on this proposal. If you exclude us from that caucus, we won't be able, because we won't have that knowledge. That's just a point I'm giving you. Thank you very much indeed, Speaker.
Maya? Okay, can we break? We will back by 1:45, please. 10 to 2 PBI as well. Yes, Councillor Meyrang. Good afternoon, councillors. We are back. We're just going to do a roll call for those that are online. Councillor Acker,
Here, I'm here, Speaker.
thank you. Councillor Tando Matika, Alderman Gericke,
Here, Speaker.
Yes, Speaker.
Councillor Van Noordwijk.
Speaker Matika is here, ne?
Yeah, sorry, yes, I heard you, Councillor.
Present, thank you.
Councillor Cornelius,
Present Speaker.
Kannemeyer,
Teenwoordig, Speaker.
Councillor Joubert,
Teenwoordig, Speaker.
Deputy,
Teenwoordig, Speaker.
Councillor Baguma,
Present Speaker.
Alderman De Vries,
Present.
Councillor Leeds,
Teenwoordig, Speaker.
Councillor Sumaya,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Koos Malloy,
Present.
Councillor Elder Lady Lachaba,
Present Speaker. Thank you.
Elder Lady Writers, Brande Dawe Julle,
Sjoe, dis waarom, Speaker.
Councillor Cronje,
Present Speaker.
Councillor Toto,
In the house, Mama.
Dankie Koenie,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor
Present.
Tauke. Wie mis ons nog? Any other councillor on the platform that I didn't mention? Councillor Sharon? Councillor Sharon van Rooyen?
Speaker, even with our caucus, she indicated that she had connectivity problems. I'm not sure whether it's the same,
Okay.
but we did indicate they can contact Rihanna. Thank you.
Speaker, Councillor Kungubel is also present.
Thank you, Councillor Van Oulia.
Thank you.
So we can proceed, councillors. We have we went for lunch, those of us who were in the chamber and those at home. On that, still on the item E1, when the ANC asked for a caucus. Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, thank you very much. I'm going to be brief. First, we note the decision that council took on this matter before. So we do acknowledge that. But we also want to put on record that not all of us have agreed with that decision. So and now Speaker, now that we are busy with the rules of order, we want to state the following. One, that the code of conduct already regulate the issue around confidentiality for councillors. Secondly, we believe that one incident that at the end we never came to a conclusion cannot be a reason for us then to want to change. So I'm repeating the arguments that we have put forward before. And I want to put it on record also that we all receive our agenda, even if I have an emergency and something happens, there's no guarantee then as we want to that no other person will get that information. Even if we don't have that provision, all councillors still receive their in-committee agendas. So we believe this measures that we want to put in place is not necessary and that it's already there. So because of those reasons, Chairperson, Speaker, I moving that in terms of this resolution, for the recommendations, that council don't approve it. I move so. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Maya?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking at you, sorry.
All right. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in South Africa, I don't know anywhere else in the world, but in South Africa, all laws, regulations, and policies are read in conjunction with the other. So in this instance, I fully agree with the code of conduct. The code of conduct, if any breach is made, would then also then be read in conjunction with council resolution as well as the rules of order. So I would then so propose, Madam Speaker, that I propose that we go with the amended, what's it called? Yeah, we go with the amended rules of order 0.5, and then the governance committee could then still go and amplify it as per my original proposal. So I propose that we go with this amended rules of order.
Thank you, Maya.
I want to second the mayor's proposal, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. I just now need direction, MM. So was that a proposal made by Alderman De Vries?
I second it, Councillor Lichaba.
Okay, thank you. So, yes,
Speaker, just for clarity, number 5, if we read there, it says whether reports that are considered to be confidential by the speaker in consultation with a municipal manager are part of the agenda. Such reports must only be considered in closed meeting council. It is correct. That's what it says. I just want to check and make sure.
councillors, we've got two proposals. There's a proposal of the mayor that we stick with what is added to our rules of order. And then we've got a proposal by Councillor De Vries. It's saying that the ANC are not in agreement.
Madam Speaker, just for clarity, my proposal, the rules of order are amended as it stands right here. We then add where you as the speaker and the chief whips would then consult in a matter of an exception to the rule, but you would still go afterwards and package it in terms of reference from the governance committee. Thank you.
Yes, that is also my understanding, that, but that is that what the ANC are not agreeing with. That's why there are two proposals. Betsy, the council whip, Councillor van Noordwijk, we're going to vote now. We've got a proposal of the mayor. All those in favor of the proposal of the mayor? I count in the chambers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on the Zoom platform, councillors, if you are voting, you must leave up your hand, raise your hand or a thumbs up, or those in favor. I see Councillor Kannemeyer. There's the only person, there's 6. I can't see the 6 hands.
Speaker,
Yes.
sorry, for one or other reason, my hand reaction doesn't want to operate, but I support the mayor's proposal. This is Deputy van Niekerk.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the deputy. But
Chair, can I ask are we now voting for the deputy or against the deputy's proposal?
The mayor's.
Sorry, the mayor's proposal. Are we voting for that now?
Yes.
Okay, let me just find my hand.
Did you count my hand, Speaker?
Just keep on your hands, please. Just keep it raised. Because we are
there.
now on the Zoom platform that we count, and we count in the chambers. So I will start again. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in the chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 on the screen. 8, 9. And the deputy. And 1, the deputy said he can't find his hand. So it's 17. 10. There's now 9.
Speaker, do you see my hand?
That's 10. It's 10. There's another one. It's 10. But does that include the deputy's hand?
Speaker, that's my hand. I found it. Thank you.
So, councillors, in favor of the deputy, the mayor is 10 online and 7 physically in the chambers. So that is 17. All those in favor of the proposal by Councillor Alderman de Vries and seconded by Councillor Lechava? 1 in the chamber. We've got 1 in the chamber.
Chair, there is still some of the hands up from the previous voting.
Can all the
Speaker.
people that have already voted just take down their hands, please?
It seems some of them are agreeing with the ANC.
No, it's still with the.
My hand
Mayor's
is
vote.
my hand is down, Speaker. Just on record.
Speaker, my hand was up for the previous one. For
My
the
hand
mayor.
is down, Speaker.
Hey, thank you. Can you just please go? We will check the hands now.
Speaker, can we vote on a head count? To read the names and you say yes, you were for it or you were
Yes,
against it.
I'll do that now. In the chamber, we've got Councillor Bates, six hands, and that's Councillor De Vries, Councillor Tando Matika, Councillor Lechava, Councillor Alderman Gierke. That's 4. Where's the other 2?
My hand is.
I don't
I
see it.
voted by show of thumb. My thumb is up.
Councillor Kungubele, my hand is up for the ANC.
Councillor Cornelius, my hand is up, Speaker.
Councillor Kungubele, my hand is up, Speaker.
Councillor, I will read the names that I can see. It's Huawei Mate 10, Mate 1. Councillor Gungubele, is that you? Okay, and then I see Councillor Cornelius, it's 2. Alderman De Vries, it's 3. Councillor Matika is 4. Alderman Gierke is 5. Councillor Toto is 6. And who's the 7th one? The Lady Lechava, it's 7.
Yes, I'm 7.
And the one in the chamber is Councillor Bates, so that's 8. So the proposal by the mayor, seconded by Elder Lady Christina, is carried. Thank you. Can we proceed? Councillors, we are now at F1, reports from community services. That's the annual report of the Garden Route District Municipality Disaster Management Center. Councillors, you know, normally we ask Mr. Gerard Otto to just give us an update. I've asked him and he said there's no new updates that he can give us. Everything is currently being handled by the police. So are there any questions? Councillor Acker?
Chair, if there's no questions, I will propose, but I think I need to make some remarks and some concerning matters and challenges that came from the report. And my argument is that this challenging matters are mentioned in the report, and I will propose that the report be noted. But I just want to mention that we as a council should make sure that we take cognizance of that challenges, some of which are that there's no service level agreements with aid organizations, or that there's remarks that there's a lack of willingness by B municipalities to cooperate in establishing a one-stop emergency center. There's the matter of swine fever. There's a need for integrating planning in humanitarian aid management. There's a concern about the management of volunteers. There's a lack of disaster risk reduction projects and the lack of funds for that. There's mentioning of the lack of engineering capacity to provide oversight of regional water security. So that means where we fit in becoming or not becoming a water security or a water authority, and making maximum use and storage of connecting some regional water resources, etc. So taking this concerns into consideration and making sure that we as a council take cognizance thereof, and that we need to deal with this in future, I will propose that we note the report as recommended.
Thank you, Councillor Akker.
Thank you, Speaker. I will second that, Speaker, with all the concern that he raised, my colleague. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Dai. Let me just make sure, Rihanna, I still saw hands when Councillor Akker was speaking, so I don't know if those are councillors that have raised their hands to ask questions on the report. Councillor Toto? Can we proceed? I think we can proceed. There is silence means.
Please proceed, ma'am. I'm gonna lower it.
Thank you, thank you. We're proceeding to section G. Report to inform council regarding the progress of the roads. That's also for noting. Alderman Ter Blanche.
Thank you, Speaker. I will propose that we take note.
The council is proposing that we take note. No questions? There's a hand. Councillor Wagbar.
Thank you, Speaker. I will second it.
Thank you. We're proceeding to section 8, planning and economic development. We've got H1, the revised IDP process plan for 2022 to 2027. We've got a recommendation on page 726, F1 and F51 and 52.
Yes,
Alderman Lampis.
Yes, Speaker, I move that we accept this recommendation, Speaker, as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lampis. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Meyrang. Who was that was talking?
It was me, Speaker, but I've got somebody already seconding.
Yes, the Lord. Thank you, councillors. H2 is discussion paper to establish a metropolitan council in the GRDM district for us to become a metropolitan. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was one of the people who were at the forefront that the Garden Road must become a metro, because of my experience when I go to metros and when I engage with metro mayors. They have bigger budgets than everybody else. They have accreditations, certain accreditations becoming automatic. Then I thought with all what we're trying to achieve as the Garden Road, it would fit with the Garden Road becoming a metro. Also, if one looks at what is on the checklist, we have an airport, we have other smaller airports, we have a port in Mossel Bay, we have a railway system, we have exploration of oil and gas, all of those things tells one that the Garden Route is going to explode one day or another. So we might just as well become a metro. And then at the strategic session, when we had the presentation on what entails a metro and what are the pros and cons of a metro, for me, Madam Speaker and councillors, the cons, the list of the cons, the disadvantages, that list is longer than the advantages. And then also, we also risk, because we're aware that Mossel Bay and George at one stage have also raised the topic. But then we're now going to be at risk, then it would then mean that only the coastline would become part of the metro. What about the other municipalities across the mountain and inland, Oudtshoorn, Hessequa, etc.? And also, Madam Speaker, we have found that normally it's only the core municipalities that forms the metro that gets all the attention from COGTA, from National Treasury, and those on the periphery, they fall out. So, Madam Speaker, I'm no longer in favor. And then also the other risk, the main risk, and councillors must take that into account. When national government constitutes a metro, decisions are made on whether a district must fall away that falls within the boundaries of that metro, and the majority of time, the district falls away. So we pursue something here, and we will make the Garden Route as a municipality redundant. So there's no rocket science in that. Why would we dissolve the district as it is at the moment? So I'm against it, Madam Speaker and councillors. And based on what other inputs the councillors will give, I would then go back to the recommendations and make proposals to the current recommendations. But let me open them up to other councillors in terms of their inputs on how they feel about this. Thank you.
Other Lady Lechava.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From our side is that whether the metro will become a metro or not, it is good to do a feasibility, because so that you can understand the magnitude. But what is very important is that the consultation process, because if you see in this report that is in front of us, there was only consultation, Mossel Bay and George. So for what is very critical is that there needs to be a engagement on all municipalities affected in the Garden Route. Yes, there are disadvantages and advantages of being a metro, but I think it's something that we really need to think about it with the data that is going to come from the feasibility. So from our side, we do not oppose for now, but this, and also when this feasibility study has been done, let it be presented first to a report back, and then now we can apply our minds based on the facts that we get from that feasibility study. That is our take. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Lady. Alderman Gericke.
Yeah, Speaker, thank you. We are, unfortunately, as opposition councillors, we are not privy to the information that the mayor has just mentioned, or we did not attend that session, with respect. And so we also think that the feasibility study will be a good thing to inform us or to educate us. But I want to ask that we do everything within our power to advance the course of improving the lives of our people. If it means a metro, then it must be a metro. If it means that it should not be a metro, then it should not be a metro. But let us explore, let us go out, let us all be informed, and then take a decision from the information that will be contained in the feasibility study. I think the recommendation as it stands from 5.1 to 5.4 will be supported by the PBI because it will contribute towards making this feasibility study, possible and more clearer unto the entire council. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gierke. Just for minute purposes, I've received a message from Councillor from Mesakwa, Councillor Tauti. He has asked to be excused because he's got connection problems. So if you can just note that, Maya.
Madam Speaker, I would propose that we apply wisdom here. Feasibilities are not necessarily cheap. And if one looks at Mossel Bay and George being out of the blocks already, we can hop onto them because the information would be the same. So with us not, with me sitting here knowing the cons, I would propose, Madam Speaker, that we can rely on the feasibilities of the other municipalities instead of us spending money and duplicating what other municipalities are already embarked on. And then when their feasibilities are done, then obviously we can then have a look at it and then we can make a decision. So I would then propose, Madam Speaker, based on what I have outlined, that we remain with recommendation 1, and I propose to amend recommendation 5.2, that council resolve to cease following a process of establishing a metropolitan council in the region, but we reserve our right to revisit when any feasibility has been forthcoming from any of the B municipalities. And then from 5.3 all the way to 5.4, we then disregard based on the amendment of recommendation 2.
Thank you, Maya. You have a seconder for that, Maya?
Speaker, I so propose with the amendments of the mind. Thank you.
Speaker,
Second. I ask now.
Speaker.
I will allow you now, councillors. Alderman Gierke and then Elder Lady Lachama.
Okay, please just, can somebody just, okay, go for it, Elder Lady Lachaba.
Okay, thank you. All we wanted also was just, as we gather that information from whether that feasibility study, as saying, but it must come back to council before any other decision so that we can be able to. So we wanted to suggest it as the last bullet point in the recommendation, that it comes back to council.
Councillor, is that a counter proposal? Because I've got a proposal and a seconder from the mayor. So is that a counter proposal from your side that you want to include 5.4? 5.1 and 5.2 he amended, and his recommendation was 5.3 and 5.4 will be disregarded for now. And then Councillor,
that's fine.
So you said now 5.1. 5.4 must stay. Is that now a new, is that a separate recommendation from your side? Proposal? Or am I understanding you incorrect?
No, it's not.
No, Speaker.
No, can you repeat?
5.1, it remains that 5.2, that we proceed, but we also equally want that feasibility study, that even if it's sourced from all municipalities, but it must come to council so that council can apply its mind in terms of the outcome of that feasibility. Then it will be 5.3.
Okay, so you're making a new recommendation, Councillor, a new proposal. That's different from the mayor's one.
Speaker, can I come in here, please?
I'm waiting on Councillor Lachaba.
It is the same as the mayor, it's just I'm putting that it must come to council.
Not the same, Councillor. The mayor said 5.2, that council resolved to cease. He's not saying anything about proceed. That is where the difference is coming.
Okay, no, we want to proceed. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so you've got a different one. Okay, that I just want clarity on that. So we've got two proposals. Alderman Gierke,
Yeah, before I support or reject, can I just understand? As far as I know, or as far as I've been informed, somebody must assist me. We understand that this discussion has taken place and there were resolutions taken by the Mossel Bay Municipal Council already a year or two ago with regard to the setup. Am I right? Can somebody assist us, please?
Meyer,
Madam Speaker, yes, Mossel Bay as well as George have put this on their table to say that they're looking into going into that direction. We are not clear in terms of how far they are with that, but they did initiate such talks about a year or two ago.
Okay, so what you then say, Mayor, through the speaker, is that we piggyback from them and that those reports can then be obtained and serve in this council. Is that what we say?
Meyer? No.
Madam Speaker, we say we cease to drive any initiative on becoming a metro. What George does in Mossel Bay, it's their decision.
Thank you. So councillors, we've got two proposals. We've got the proposal of the mayor that we cease and the proposal of Councillor Lechaba that we proceed. Councillor Lechaba, you did not have a seconder for your proposal.
Madam Speaker, you know,
No,
I'm
Mr.
still,
Speaker.
I am still talking. You're not asking me whether I'm done or not.
But you
See, this is just,
sorry, councillor, with all due respect, you get quiet.
no, when the mayor finished answer, you should have asked me, am I satisfied or not?
Councillor, do you still have got anything to say so that we
No,
can...
I don't have anything to say.
Thank you. So can Councillor Lechaba get a seconder for a proposal, please?
I will second that.
Thank you. So we've got two proposals. One is-
Before that, Honorable Speaker, I just want us to put this on record. Here we find that there is an item that have went to MACO and it find itself landing in council meeting. And it is stating that we must be able to proceed or cease. And now the mayor is tabling us, is giving us some other new information. And here we are now, we are asked to, now we must seize that. I think from council without us is rather perhaps what ought to happen is we withdraw this item and then we are given the right information. Because it's unfair now, we based our decision based on what was available in us and what we have read here. Then what was the purpose of this item?
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, I'm asking the mayor.
Yes, Councillor Alder Lady, the mayor is going to respond.
Madam Speaker and councillors, I did not bring any new information.
Thank you. Councillor Lechaba, you still don't have a seconder for your proposal that we proceed. Councillor Gierke, you have, can I just make sure, Councillor Gierke?
Can I, Honorable Speaker, can we get a caucus, please? Can I request a caucus?
Councillor, I think we are very clear on what is in front of us. The mayor did not bring any new information. So I am not going to grant that caucus. We've got two proposals on the table. The one is for us to cease from the mayor, which was duly seconded. And the second one is coming from you that we must proceed. So can we get a proposer, a seconder?
Honorable Speaker, you cannot refuse that for a caucus.
Why can't I not refuse, Councillor? Councillor, there is no new information. You said that the mayor is bringing new information. There is no new information.
Madam Speaker, and also our rules of order are clear. When there are two proposals, you go into a vote.
So I'm still, councillors, can we proceed now? Those in favor of the mayor's proposal that we cease and the amended in 5.2, can I see your hands, please? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7 in the chambers in favor. Those online. There are 11 online, so I am not sure. Councillor Acker,
Yes, my hand is up. I'm voting, Chair.
Councillor Malloy,
My hand is up, Chair, Speaker, I am voting.
okay, so I see 10 hands. 11, 12, 13. So it's 7 and 13. Are we now 20? Well, so it's 7 in the chambers. Can we just get this correct? 7 in the chambers. And 13, who is the one that's clapping hands? Can he please just identify himself? I know he's voting. Is that you, Deputy?
I've just raised my hand, Speaker.
Okay, so there's 13 that are voting. That one keep on coming and going. The clapping hand one. No,
Speaker, it's
but-
mine, it's mine, Speaker. I'm having problems too, but I'm in favor of the mayor's one.
Who's mine?
Councillor
Councillor
Bavuma.
Bavuma.
Councillor Bavuma. Thank you, Councillor. I don't recognize your voice. So is it 12 or 13?
It's 13,
13 with Councillor Bavuma.
yes.
So it's 13 online and 7 in the chambers. It's 20. That is in favor of the mayor. Can we get all those in favor of Councillor Lechaba? That was seconded by Alderman Gierke. 1 in the chamber. Can the previous people that have already voted just lower their hands, please? I see 6. 6. So it's 7 and 1 in the chamber, it's 8. Is that correct? It's 6 now. It was 7 now it's 6. Thank you. So it's 6 online and 7 and 1 in the chamber. So it's 7. So the proposal of the mayor duly seconded carries. Thank you. Councillors, can we proceed to H3? It's the Garden Route District Municipality Public Participation Policy. And it says that we must adopt this policy. It's open for discussion, councillors. Alderman Lampis.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, yes. I'm going to propose, Speaker, on this item. I just want to express actually us as a council, our sincere gratitude and thanks towards Mr. Menzie and Mercy James for compiling this report firstly, because I don't think we have in previous terms we have a approved public participation policy, Mr. Menzie. So therefore, thank you for your hard work behind the scenes in compiling this report and Speaker, with that, I would like to propose that we accept or adopt this policy, please. Thank you.
Councillors, are there any questions on this policy before we proceed? Alderman de Vries. De Vries, is that a new hand?
Thank you, Speaker. Allow me to join
You are breaking up.
fellow councillor.
Councillor,
in
Councillor De
terms of yeah, it says that my internet is unstable. Can you hear me now?
Madam Speaker,
Can you hear me now, Speaker?
you are unstable, Councillor. You're very unstable.
Councillor De Vries, let's try again. Alderman.
Madam Speaker,
Alderman De Vries, let's try again because we couldn't
thank
hear.
you, Speaker. I am just joining with, if you allow me, with my phone because it seems. Let's just indicate now. Can you hear me?
Proceed, yes.
Thank you, Speaker. You can just tell me if you can't, and in the meantime, I'm also going to join with my phone because that might be a better option. But it seems all because there's no electricity that all platforms have a problem. Speaker, if you can hear me, I said I want to agree with Councillor Tabajin that this is a first for the garden route, and also want to add towards thanking and congratulating those officials and everybody in the department who have actually contributed to this. And I think it's very a progressive step for a district to do that. Speaker, I want to draw your attention to page 849.
Just wait a while, then we can go to 829, please. 849, yes.
849, yes. It's the section, I'm not sure under which, but it's bullet point number C. Bullet point number D on that page, Municipal Structure Act number 117 of 1998. Are you there?
Yes, you may proceed, Alderman.
Thank you. Speaker, I'm very passionate about public participation, and I would like to, if Council agree, that we add in terms of may make recommendations on any affected its wards to the ward councillor. There's another section 2 who talk about the ward committee through its councillor can make a recommendation to the executive mayor or to council, meaning that their reports from the district, from the ward committee must go where they requested or make recommendations to those structures. And the reason why that's important at times is that councillors, ward councillors, and I'm not accusing anyone in this room, at times believe that the ward committees can't make direct recommendations to the executive mayor, although it comes through their meetings. But section 2 of that same act of section 74, that particular one perhaps be included. The second one is that I just want to also say that under the page, on page 852, under public participation principles, and I think it's very progressive, it's a very progressive bullet point number 2 and bullet point number 4. And we should remember when we budget that we take this into account. That garden route to capacitate and empower community members so that they understand the social, economic, political environment. And that will speak to civic education. Also point number 4, actively enhance the leadership capacity of communities. So we don't talk about ward committees, we talk about in our policy that we will capacitate communities. And I think it's important when we do our budget that we make sure that we do allocate funds in terms of that. So that's a very progressive point. The last will be a question under the page on oversight. And I was on page 858. And I might have missed it. The oversight, the role in terms of political office, where is this oversight going to be? Because it's talk about the different departments and functions. But I believe this policy should talk about political responsibility or oversight of this or some committee. And I don't want to go into debate, but the issue around there's always this misunderstanding that that public participation is a function of the speaker. But it's Mayor that reports on public participation and committee consultation every year in the annual report. And the speakers are responsible for ward committees. Now, we don't have ward committees. So hence I was asking in terms of whether somewhere in that where I missed it, whether the oversight of this, in which structure it's going to be reside. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Alderman De Vries, is there anybody that will assist us in the later part of what Councillor asked? Where does the oversight of the last part that he asked? But before that, I just want to ask, did you make an amendment, Councillor De Vries, in page 8? Was it 849 or 844, the very first page?
849, Speaker, the amendment I would like to consider is section 74(2) of the Structures Act that be inserted. Refer to section 4, 74(1) of the Act, bullet point or whatever one, and then I recommend that section 74 of the Structures Act be included.
Councillors, are we in agreement with that? With that amendment that the councillor wants to make? Are we? Mike?
Yes, we are. The more information, the better.
Amen.
Thanks, Speaker. I understand the sentiment being expressed. However, the section quoted there is quoted verbatim from the Structures Act. So the Structures Act says a ward committee may make recommendations on any matter affecting its ward to the ward councillor. Now, what Councillor De Vries is saying is that there may be a challenge there if only to the ward council. So he wants to include other possible structures like the executive mayor, the council, and so on. Now, the implications, you should know, Councillor, is that people are very territorial about their areas. The ward committee councillors may not take kindly to a district mayor, for instance, coming up to make an example with an issue in their ward or something to that effect. But when we take that decision, we must just be mindful of what he is proposing and what may happen practically. So what it means is that we must expand on the Structures Act. That is what he's proposing, that not only the ward councillor must be the recipient of that proposal, but probably a councillor like Councillor Lambachin, PR councillor, or the executive mayor, and so on. It may just need some refining, but I want you to open your mind in terms of the practical implications of what may happen. I don't know why the legislature decided on only the ward committee, the ward councillor, but I suspect they had taken into account such possibilities that if you open it too much, you may cause unnecessary conflict. And it is true that some of the ward councillors may not be accessible and that these people may have problems, but that's what I think is proposed. On the oversight functions requiring public participation, I think what is stated here is those oversight functions that require public participation. So probably others may not necessarily require public participation, the oversight functions, but it doesn't stop, for instance, the council from holding its own executive to account through oversight processes. The MPEC exists to hold the executive to account in terms of its oversight processes. Those may be decided because MPEC meetings are public meetings and so on, but what is tabulated here only refers to the oversight functions that require public participation, and they are listed. In terms of budgeting for what is required in the principles, I think it's correct that if we are true to the policy, if we want to empower communities, community leaders, then resources must be availed so that people can understand the functioning of the municipality, and to make sure that maybe when these councillors and ourselves are no longer there, our communities are ready to take the baton and run with the affairs of the people. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Speaker, I am in agreement with the municipal manager and with Alderman De Vries. I just have this one question. As Councillor De Vries has proposed, let us just understand the district doesn't have ward committees, or I mean ward councillors. We have ward councillors that are serving on the council, but not per se in the structure setup. So if we want the public participation process to have a bearing on the working or the activities of the district municipal council, should we not look broader or deeper into something? I know there's an IDP forum, for instance, that body is a representative body that can speak directly to the structures of the district municipal council. I'm talking in terms of locus standi. I don't know, because not all, you have many other ward councillors in Mossel Bay, in Esequa, and Kannaland all over, and not all of them are represented, or they don't have a voice for that matter. Should we not look at a central body, not now, but in future, that the district speaks directly to on issues of public participation in their different communities? It's just a question.
Thank you, Alderman. Maya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It now makes clearer sense. We are all touching on the right buttons. Safe to say that I also agree with the We cannot change an act which is quoted verbatim. But just to come to the concerns raised by Alderman De Vries is that there is the recourse when a ward councillor is not approachable or available. It is the speaker of that council. And if there's no joy from the speaker as well, then it goes to the mayor, to the full council to deal with those matters. And then to come to what Alderman Gericke is raising, that for me, that IDP rep forum should be the body, to be used to raise some of these things, because as been mentioned that we don't have wards as a district, but then at this rep forum, we can then engage with the local municipalities there based on intelligence received or in other complaints received. But then in terms of our own participation, I then also agree, Madam Speaker, that we can then sharpen our own participation, taking into account, as the MM is saying, that people will be territorial, but then can be then probably either be conducted jointly in the form of an imbizo with a local municipality, etc., to avoid the territorial matters. So for me, as things stand, we can still achieve all those objectives that we have without amending anything, because we are restricted in terms of amending.
Thank you, Maya.
Maybe just to
My hand is up.
just to finalize on the matter. Councillors, if you read the policy, the structure of the policy starts with the legal framework, the basis upon which the policy is made. Now, where Councillor De Vries is referring to, it's where we're exposing the structures and what it says about what committees. So what we have put here is what the Act says. We cannot change. However, below that, we then discuss our public participation process having regard to what the law provides. So what we are discussing is just to say, the Constitution says, the Systems Act says, the Structures Act says. We can't change that. But then if you go through the policy, we then give an exposition as to what is it that we intend doing as government in terms of public participation. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, MM. Alderman De Vries.
Speakers, thank you. And thanks for the clarification on the matters that I've raised by the MM. But Speaker, I don't want to amend the Structures Act. I didn't say that we should include something that is not in the Structures Act. And I'm going to read the Structures Act. And the MM is correct. This is about where we, in our policy, we quote the relevant acts, and through that we are educating our communities. But this is based on experience that we found that only one part of that specific section are being implemented, and somehow sometimes when the ward committee forward issues and the ward councillor don't agree, it doesn't goes anywhere. Now I'm going to quote section 74. A ward committee A may make a recommendation on any matter affecting its ward to the ward councillor, or through the ward councillor to the metro or local council, the executive committee, or the executive mayor. So there's another thing that this, so I was only proposing that we put in the whole section A within our information, because through that we are basically educating the public and also the members of the ward committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Gericke.
Yes, Speaker, just lastly, this item is doing justice to the issue of public participation. The problem is just that we have certain challenges because it would appear that the act is designed to suit your municipalities. For instance, of a great portion of the act is written to suit your municipalities, although it makes mention of metropolities and so on. But going through this item, I think this is a new challenge to us, and maybe we should think innovative. Nothing stops us from, you don't deviate from the Structures Act, but nothing stops us to add something on. You know, if you talk about the RDP or the rep forum, so as the mayor said, IDP forum, but to give legitimacy to some body, you know, that central body that can directly be acknowledged by the district municipality, that speaks to the district municipality on issues that falls within the competency of the district. There's no legislation that bars you from creating such a call it a creature or whatever. You can do that. So most probably you cannot do it now, but if we let our minds go on this thing, it's going to be a first for the district municipality also, because you need, remember, keep in consideration the Constitutional Court judgment, Mr. MM, through the Speaker, that public participation is no longer just a ticking of boxes, but it is a thorough engagement with your communities. And that engagement is vested or seated in some kind of a body or a creature, and maybe we should rather look at that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. So if I heard Councillor De Vries correct, Councillor De Vries wanted us to add the other part also. It's not something new, it is in the Act. Maya, am I correct? So can we add that, MM?
That's correct, Speaker. We can write the whole section as it reads.
Thank you. Thank you, MM. Maya?
I'm now just thinking, Madam Speaker, if we're going to do that, it will take us to 20 pages.
No, no, Maya.
All right, okay.
Okay, it's only the part. There are now 3 hands. So I don't know now, is it old hands or Kanalan? Steenkamp?
Speaker, it's a new hand, but I'm willing to just withdraw for future reference. But maybe I must just quickly say this. I agree in whole with everything that's said by everybody. I agree, strangely so, with Alderman De Vries, because I do feel that we need to include the whole act. because it allows for the executive structures then also to be included. And then I would also say, because this is new, and congratulations to the whole everything, the whole effort, I would also agree partly with what Alderman Gericke has said. We can add, and that we can do when we amend or when we review this, because this is obviously new and it will be up for review. Because the district municipality doesn't really have a mention in the Structures Act, we can add that the ward committee through the ward councillor then has to also engage with the elected district councillor, because every single B municipality, I'm speaking under correction, but this is not, understand, 74A1 and 2. But I'm speaking under correction, every B municipality in the Garden Route has a directly elected ward councillor, district councillor, correct? So in other words, for example, Kannaland, me and Councillor Malloy, we're the two representing Kannaland at present. One is directly elected and the other one is the PR councillor, which is elected through council. So nothing prevents us as any B municipality in this public participation part for the ward councillor to engage with the district councillor in order to get this going. So we can add there.
Thank you. I'm just following on the screen now the conversation with Councillor De Vries. He's saying not the whole act, only section 74A, and then as he said, I understand Councillor De Vries, it's noted. Says 1 and 2. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your input also, Councillor Steenkamp. Councillors, can we now adopt the report?
Yes, Speaker, I was asking that we adopt the report with the amendment by Councillor De Vries and other members. Thank you.
We get a seconder. Thank you.
I'll second, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, that brings us to the end of our meeting. We don't have a section 1, I, section J, section K. So thank you very much for your participation in this meeting. Thank you also for those members of the public who listen to us via YouTube. But the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, bye-bye.
Travel safely, those who travel, and stay safe, everybody. Goodbye.